Hello, this is Jay Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get right into it. So first we have Trump's RNC officially kills the GOP mail-in voter effort from MSNBC.com by Donald Key, and ultimately I don't really think that's good, but if they want to justify that and spend money on other things, I guess they should be able to. Ultimately, I don't like how the RNC is being run right now, I would say, but I think they'll probably find a way to make it. I don't think either of the two major parties is close to collapsing anytime soon, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Pornhub shut down in Texas. RedTube also. I'm thinking Texas lawmakers reverse course real quick from Imgur.com by FlimsyL5563, and that's a cross post from the Texas subreddit. And I personally don't think the government should be shutting down websites, which is personally why I'm against the TikTok ban, and I'd be against this as well. And, I don't think minors should be doing pornography. Personally, I don't think anyone should be doing pornography. I think it's kind of like smoking. It's not good for you. But with that being said, I think if you want to do it, you should be able to do it, because I don't like telling other people what they can and can't do. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have U.S. firm that paid FBI informant tied to Trump associates records reveal from TheGuardian.com by Baton Ferchan. And I don't think that's good, but I think that's just another Trump bad thread. So I don't really think that's probably pretty much a nothing burger. There's tons of other stuff you can attack Trump on. It's always they always want to find a way to get Trump, but I don't think they'll ever really do it, because I don't think that's good. I think he just has too much social capital right now. Then we have both The Economist and WSJ state explicitly that the main reason that TikTok ban picked up so much bipartisan steam in DC since October 7th was because of how much Israeli criticism was allowed to air and circulate on the platform, see below. But really, it's all about China, from Glenn Greenwald on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, always important to pay attention to the special interests. That's how the U.S. government first and foremost decides to enact policy. The narrative is generally that the Republicans are Russian assets and that the Democrats are Chinese assets, when in reality I would say both are much more Israeli assets than anything else. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Lawyer, Police, Lies, and Dumb Questions, 10 Best Responses. And that's a YouTube video from Hampton Law. And it was posted by Chad Muffin. And I definitely do think, you shouldn't be, the police shouldn't bully you into incriminating yourself, but sadly that's not the world we live in. I think you gotta stand up to the police and, say, I'm not gonna incriminate myself, you can do whatever you want to me, but I'm not incriminating myself, and, That's why, I personally won't interact with police, because, I personally don't, they have the power to stay on their side, and that's not fair. You don't have the power. They can do pretty much whatever they want to you and get away with it. Well, you can't do anything to them, and without them coming after you for it, or you can't do anything in front. So I gotta, not try to stay out of their way, I would say. Then we have How Her Misled the Country on Biden's Memory from TheAtlantic.com by Clorox, and that's crosspost from the Law subreddit. And I said, Clorox added, regardless of how much you feel about Biden, the incessant blatant lying stalls all compromise and progress. Free speech doesn't mean accountable for lying. I said, for you, it depends on what the letter next to the name of who says is lie more than anything else. They would, a lot of people on the subreddit would never hold someone for D next to their name accountable for them lying. But, if they have narcs on him, they'll be right out, or they'll be right on it. And that's my thoughts on that issue. And also, Biden, he's clearly quite senile. But, you can't even say that these days without them coming after you for it. It's the emperor has no clothes, but it's okay because the emperor has the right letter next to his name. That's what it seems like. Then we have You Have a Parasite from House MD on YouTube, and that's a YouTube video from the moment shorts of House talking about an abortion, referring to it as a parasite, and I said, this is unironically how Redditors talk about abortion. House was the average Redditor before it was cool. And that's my thoughts on that issue. I personally think if you want to call it a parasite, I think you should be able to. With that being said, I think people should be allowed to take offense at that if they want to, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have top Democrat Schumer calls for new elections in Israel, saying Netanyahu is an obstacle to peace, from APnews.com by Clorox, and I said, acting like he isn't already Netanyahu's puppet. They're all pretty much Israel assets in Congress, and Schumer is just one of them. I would say. He's just saying this to throw people off the trail, but he's as much Netanyahu's puppet as most of the uniparties, I would say. Then we have outraged fantasy porn fanatic promises favors to leftists from Clorox, and that's crossbows from the There Was an Attempt subreddit. It's a tweet from Alex Jones, who quoted himself saying, "I will eat your leftist ass." And I said, the chemicals in the water turned to Alex gay just like the frogs. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Tennessee Senate Republicans effectively kill food tax cut proposal from WKRN.com by Clorox, and they added won't give people food tax cuts because they wanted to pass 1.6 billion cuts for corporations instead. And yeah, I definitely don't think that's good. I think I would prefer the food tax cuts over the 1.6 billion in cuts for the corporations. But sadly, that's not the world we live in. We live in the world where big business and big government operate in tandem, and sadly, it's a big club and you ain't in it. It's the common man just always gets screwed over. That's pretty much the mantra of the government. And we have Florida is on its way to banning and criminalizing alternative meat from foodandwine.com by Anarcho Federation. And I said, definitely goes against food freedom. I personally wouldn't really eat all the alternative meat, just like I wouldn't eat the bugs. But, I think if people want to eat the alternative meat or the bugs, I think they should be able to. And I don't think we should ban and criminalize it. And that's my thought on that issue. Then we have what really happened after Occupy Wall Street shifted the narrative of inequality in the 1% from Swamp Hanky Dan. That's a Reddit picture of a sign on a street pole. It says, they got you fighting a culture war to stop you fighting a class war. And I said, exactly. And I linked a story about how the media led the racial awakening from Tablet Magazine, and an image on Google that said that they started pushing divisive racial content after 2012 and Occupy Wall Street, starting with Trayvon Martin's death. And that very much was the birth of modern identity politics. Obama saying, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. I personally have done a BLM march before, but the whole movement was created for Trayvon Martin's death and the media circus surrounding it, and which definitely fits the timeline. And that's my fault on that issue. Then we have Nazi cartoonist meets the strides and defect after Twitter censors discussion of his identity from boingboing.net, and that's from Baton 13. And I said, remember this for if you ever get doxxed. I personally don't think we should dox people, but if you want to justify doxing someone, you should be able to. I think, but ultimately, the people are only justifying doxing because Stone Toss has the wrong ideas, and that just goes to show you that most people are hypocrites, and if Stone Toss was a trans activist, they wouldn't be justifying his doxing, and that's my fault on that issue. Then we have breaking. Armed police shut the power and arrest Martin Sellner just as he was about to deliver an anti-immigrant immigration lecture today in Switzerland from NWokeness on Twitter. And I posted that, and I said, free speech was nice while it lasted. Apparently, Sellner wasn't legally allowed to be in the country, but, it's woke progressives say no human is legal unless they are right at Bernie. And I also added, he may not be an angel, he's a neo-Nazi, but that doesn't justify stuff like this, arresting him and censoring him just for giving a presentation, and that's my fault on that issue. Then we have man suspected of killing 3 people in Philadelphia area arrested in New Jersey, police say from APnews.com by Zachness, and I definitely don't think that's good. I'm glad they arrested him. I personally think, we should, I don't really like the police as I've been over, but, ultimately, sometimes they can be the only line of defense between, people like this running rampant and, killing everyone, that's why, ultimately, I do think, if you do violate the NAP, the police, should be able to arrest you, I think. And that's my thought on that issue. Even if I don't really like the state, I still, think it is important to not let people just run around constantly violating the NAP. And that's my thought on that issue. Then we have, did Trump executive orders for weaken FAA oversight from Forbes.com by Zachness, and they added articles that are 4 years old and still hitting hard. And maybe I would say, but ultimately it's not the FAA's job to hold the companies accountable. It's the people's job. And it looks like Boeing is they're killing their whistleblowers, and their planes are falling apart. So it just goes to show you that it looks like the people are starting to hold them accountable. I personally think it's pretty much run by the government, even if it's technically a private corporation, because big government and big business, as I always say, are pretty much walking hand in hand. Then we have Musk and the Stone Toss issue from Baton 14. That's across was from the Enough Musk Fans subreddit. And I said, I didn't comment on that one, but ultimately I think if people want to dox someone and say their name, to be able to. With that being said, now they're censoring his name. And I think, I'm personally against censorship, but if you want to say someone's name, I think you should be able to. But personally, I don't think it's right to dox people, even if they are someone like Stone Toss. That's my thoughts there. Then finally we have, Trump says there will be a bloodbath and elections will end if he isn't reelected. Former president appeared at Ohio rally for Bernie Moreno, who was competing in a split GOP Senate race, from RollingStone.com by Swamp Yankee Dan. And I said that was taken out of context. He only said that the auto industry would be in a bloodbath. And also, but then Swamp Yankee Dan replied, he went as far as honestly implying that voting as we know it won't exist if he loses. I don't know if you're going to have another election in this country if we don't win this election, he said. And I said the Dems literally said the exact same shit, so he just goes to show you that people only care about it when the other side does it. The Dems can say, oh, we're going to end the elections, the elections won't continue if Trump wins, and no one will care. But if Trump says it, suddenly it's the end of the world. It's like that old meme of the Joker. The Republicans, the Democrats say no one cares. The Republicans say it, and everyone loses their minds. I just go show you how it's pretty much all theater, and they are pretty much all a uni party, I would say. And I think we're gonna wrap it there. I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.